Well, I was just going to add that I think there's something else that the charter schools have given our district, and that is choice. The parents in our district have choices now. And I can, Dr. Gemma is aging me by telling you that I could be the historian, but it's true. Assemblyman Gary Hart, who is from Santa Barbara area, is very much interested in education, was very concerned because in the, let's see, I must have been around the mid-70s, 1970 something, there were he was worried about the achievement, they didn't call it the achievement gap, they called it the underachievers, and that public schools just didn't have the answers, and public schools couldn't get the answers because they were so involved with their teachers' unions and the daily requirements, et cetera. So he envisioned enacting a law that would give school districts the ability to form charters where they would be free of the education code, they'd be free of teacher union requirements, they would be free to experiment and try new things and try and forge a new path into how we educate young people. And so the very first charter schools were really born out of existing school districts and were experiments. They largely, some flourished, but the majority of them, unfortunately, didn't really quite have their identities together. As the years passed and as this content with the public schools grew, the charter school movement morphed into something a little different until what we have today, where the feeling is that parents legitimately deserve the opportunity to decide where they want to send their children. And for many of them, a large comprehensive school is not what they feel is the best thing for their students. And those of you who were at the board meeting, I think we talked a little bit about this before, and I think I told you at that point how I felt about it. As much as I would hope that you all could have experienced what we have to offer in the comprehensive schools, I understand that you like it here, and you're parents and you want to be here, and that's your choice. And so I think in doing that and saying that, it sends a real loud message to us, just like Dr. Gemma said, that we don't meet the needs of all of the people in our community. Therefore, the legislature has given the community choices. We don't like the way the law is set up because it penalizes us fiscally, because the 8,000 other students in our district say, wait a second, why are you taking money away from my student, all the other students, to fund charter school students? It's a terrible dilemma that we were set up in a sense to be, at odds with charter school. It should never have happened that way. And someday, if we ever get a legislature that will lead and a governor who can lead, if that ever happens, then maybe they'll fix this so that it's, the charter schools can thrive without having to take money from the larger comprehensive schools. That's what we should all be about making happen. And you guys are in a position, hopefully, to help shape that in years to come. It certainly won't be this year or next year, because we have such a giant mess in Sacramento. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but it's the truth. We have a very, very poor, ungovernable kind of situation right now. So I would just say that I think, as I see this charter school movement evolve into what it is today, I think it provides hope for families who feel real stress about their ability, about what the comprehensive schools can or cannot provide for their students. And I agree with your CEO. I think you guys should be really proud of what you've accomplished here. And it's very clear to me that this school is certainly one that's even yet to reach its full potential. And you guys are going to have to do great things, I can tell.
I agree that charter schools provide a laboratory of sorts for education. They are less tethered to regulations, they have more flexibility, they offer parent choice, and these are all good dynamic things as the other speakers have mentioned already. The only comment I would add is one that is really an expression of envy. There are approximately 1,000 public school districts in the state of California, and we're governed by an education code that includes 100,000 sections, and including what percentage of fruit juice should be in the vending machines. So I look at my friend here and think of the opportunity that would be created throughout our state in terms of, as the issue is reformed tonight, if we were to untether all of the public school districts in the state in the same way. Because I think there are many things, it's sort of like having a sense that your parents have a favorite sister and it's not you. Because there's a tremendous amount of resources, there's a tremendous amount of time that is focused on compliance issues, and I don't think, as Tom spoke earlier, to all of them have much to do with teaching and learning. So I do think the dynamic of charter schools is a very healthy one for the state, and I hope it leads to sharing of the flexibility.
So, and the last question for the night comes from Laura Slava.
My topic is special education and how it contributes to the dropout crisis in the nation. My question is directed to the panel. Knowing that the dropout crisis is growing each day in this country, how can districts like Ravenswood, Sequoia, and Palo Alto in education?
So you can see it's a very significant matter. The matter that I always concern myself in relation to special ed is whether or not it's really meaningful in terms of students getting excited about learning and feeling satisfaction in their work, and whether or not it's really engaged with the mainstream classes. It really needs to be about being successful in the mainstream classes, and I think it should be assessed against that standard whenever it's done. The other matter that I think we need to be very careful about in relation to special ed classes, for years the people of color were overassessed. It's a matter of record. And there were a number of lawsuits that rectified some of it. I wonder if it's all been rectified, but it was a very considerable issue. And that leads me to the other matter of having to always be careful that students do not lose confidence in themselves as learners. I can assure you that when you enter college and you are much more independent, where the setting really expects you to make your own choices and to use your time wisely and to possess all the study habits and confidence that goes with it, it is mostly about how you see yourself. And so above all, as young people move through special ed classes, giving them the support to be successful and at the same time gaining that confidence. Now there's a very high correlation as well between students who were in special ed and who drop out. That's also a matter of record. And so you might want to take a look at that. There are many wonderful special ed faculty who concern themselves with that matter on a continual basis. If it's done well, carried out according to the highest standards, it can make a big difference in a positive way.